So Jeff, you began Amazon 20 years ago selling books, and now you sell almost everything. So what is Amazon today? How do you describe it?
Well, you know, our mission has always been to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And by that I mean customer-obsessed instead of competitor-obsessed. And that is, sometimes we hire new employees at Amazon, and they come from a different kind of corporate culture, and they're a little bored because we don't wake up every morning with a competitive zeal to kill somebody else. We're more of explorers, and we kind of invent new ways, and we do wild things. A lot of them don't work. There's a lot of risk-taking, a lot of invention, and that is, it works for us. I think one of the good things about taking a customer-centric approach instead of a competitor-centric approach is that if you get ahead in a particular field of, or a particular arena, then you end up still being very motivated. Whereas if you're very competitor-focused, it's really difficult to stay motivated when you're number one in a particular arena. And so that has served us well, and we have three things today that I think are well-established businesses. We have Amazon Web Services, we have Amazon Prime, and we have a marketplace business where third-party sellers sell on Amazon. And we've got lots of other things we're working on and lots of ideas. They're little tiny seeds that we hope one day will grow into big trees, and we're having a ball.
I heard you describe innovation as a team sport. What kind of people do you want on your team?
Well, for innovate, you need a bunch of different kinds of people on a team. We need lots of operators on our team. So innovation comes in two major flavors. Everyday incremental innovation, and that's probably 70% of what we do, is just getting every little process a little bit better every day. That's so important. Any company that doesn't do that well is not going to succeed. And then there's this big, kind of white sheet innovation when you start something new. For that kind of innovation, in real invention, kind of clean sheet invention, you need people who, and this is very tricky, you need people who are experts in a certain domain area, because the world is so complex today. It's really hard to invent something if you're not an expert, if you don't have the underlying tools at your disposal and know what's going on. You can't invent something in neurosurgery without knowing something about neurosurgery. It's just going to be very difficult because we're very advanced. And that's true in every field of endeavor. But to really be an inventor, you have to combine that expertise with the beginner's mind. You have to have a certain childlike ability to not be trapped by your expertise. And that fresh look, that beginner's mind, once you're an expert, is unbelievably hard to maintain. But great inventors are always looking. They have a certain divine discontent, and they may have seen something 1,000 times, and still it occurs to them that thing, even though they're accustomed to it, could be improved. And that I very frequently get the question, what's going to change in the next 10 years? And that is an interesting question. It's a very common one. I almost never get the question, what's not going to change in the next 10 years? And I submit to you that second question is actually the more important of the two. Because you can build a business strategy around the things that are stable in time. And so as you pointed out, in our retail business, we know that customers want low prices. And I know that's going to be true 10 years from now. They want fast delivery. They want vast selection. It's impossible to imagine a future 10 years from now where a customer comes up to me and says, Jeff, I love Amazon, I just wish the prices were a little higher. You know how I love Amazon, I just wish you delivered a little more slowly. Impossible. And so the effort that we put into those things, spinning those things up, we know the energy we put into it today will still be paying dividends for our customers 10 years from now. And so when you have something that you know is true, even over the long term, you can afford to put a lot of energy into it. On AWS, the big ideas are also pretty straightforward. It's impossible for me to imagine that 10 years from now, somebody is going to say, I love AWS, I just wish it were a little less reliable. Or I love AWS, I just wish you would raise prices. It should be a little more expensive. Or I love AWS, and I wish you would innovate and improve the APIs at a slightly slower rate. None of those things you can imagine. And so the big ideas in business are often very obvious, but it's very hard to maintain a firm grasp of the obvious at all times. But if you can do that, and continue to spin up those flywheels and put energy into those things, as we're doing with AWS, over time, you build a better and better service for your customers on the things that genuinely matter to them.
You can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. Which one of those, when you're 90 years old, are you going to be more proud of?